Hello, 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 and welcome back to another review with Heather. I'm Heather of Heather's Passion Academy, and today we're going to be reviewing season 8, episode 7 of Love and Marriage Huntsville. And this episode is entitled Love and Lockup. Whew. And y'all. It's just a continuation. It's really tough right now to do these shows because you're getting more and more of the same every episode. It just kind of feels like nothing's really progressing with these couples. It just seems like they're just um, spinning their wheels, and I don't know if that's good for the show. I don't know if it's good for the people that want to watch the show. However, we got to get on into it. Don't y'all think so? All right, so let's go ahead and start. Now, last episode, we know that Tisha and Stormi were having these exchanges. Stormi wants to know what you mean by popping pills at the reunion, because that's what they were going back and forth about. Tisha still spewing whatever she was spewing because, honey, she was Liddy City. Um, Everybody's trying to tell her to calm down. She ain't trying to calm down. She want to argue with everybody. Then when Nell tells her to calm down and stop acting a fool, she try to act like, oh, what do you mean? What are you talking about? So then she starts ramping up and turning that foolishness to Nell, talking about she gonna have words with her. And Nell was like, look, you just if y'all don't get along, y'all don't get along. But all this stuff you're doing, going back and forth with these ladies, it just doesn't make any sense. Just stop it. Um, and so then Tisha turns her foolishness on over and says, well, I need to have some words with you. And she was like, you know what? I don't know what's going on. I don't know I didn't know that you had a problem with me. You know, you're being aggressive and I don't know. And she was like, I don't know why you calling me aggressive because you acting aggressively. That's why. Anyway, so they talk a little bit, and she's talking about how she don't want to be fake no more and all this type of stuff. And there's some conversation about she was angry at Nell for telling a friend that she was her mentor. And I'm like, what's the problem with that? Obviously she's an older. She was like, what y'all just said, I'm like a mentor. Well, we're trying to be friends, so we're not a mentor mentee. Tisha is nitpicking. She just want to be mad at somebody, and that's the problem I have with her. She don't never have smoke for her husband, but she always got smoke for other people who ain't really done nothing to her. Now, in the meantime, while they going back and forth, the other ladies had gotten up to leave, but we see that Stormi and Courtney is over talking to Marsau, wanted to know what was going on. They talking about the weird text messages. Courtney was like, don't even worry about it. He got to take up for his wife. And Marsau like, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Well, I mean, it's okay to take up for your wife, because she your wife. Y'all kind of should be on the same page. And so Marcel is like, well, if his wife is going back and forth with somebody like that, he knows that they couldn't be friends. I don't know, Marcel. It's like she just be like that. She like that with everybody, it seems, except her mama and with you. Yeah, the two of y'all. So anyway, they were like, so we're not the people that hold stuff against folks. We were just trying to send this invitation out to the Lovers and Friends Gala because we want y'all to be there. We wouldn't have sent anything out if we didn't want you to be there. We just don't hold stuff like that. And Marceau said, we do. When I say everybody on this show need to go lay on somebody's couch, take somebody's Xanax, take somebody Zoloft or a combination of something and figure out what's wrong with them. And then also take a conflict resolution course. I'm so sick of them. I'm tired of them. Anyway, Tisha wants Nell to address the haters. I just don't understand it. And anyway, regardless of all that, even though they had drama again at somebody's party, somebody's event, Nell had a great time at her birthday party. And I'm glad she did because everybody deserves to have a good birthday. let's move along to the next scene, y'all. This is very disappointing scene here, just because, I get that they're trying to check up on Martell, but anytime you put a camera in front of him, it seems like it's time for him to spend some information. And I think that's where I have a problem. But anyway, Chris and Courtney meet up with Martell. Um, Martell still's mad at Nell because he didn't come to the party. He's saying that she's still taking sides. Martell say that he and um, Melody don't have issues when they're together. And I'm like, oh, okay. Chris had this weird look on his face because we all know that's not true. Courtney says, well, two people should be able to talk, right? And I'm like, listen, y'all downplay a lot of stuff about how tumultuous the relationship is between Melody and Martell. They obviously cannot exist in the same spaces. So they should not be in the same spaces unless they're with a court or appointed individual that's going to help mediate things. They've already determined that throughout the years. They can't stay in the same room, you know. Um, Courtney wants to know, is there a restraining order because he want to make sure the two of them can attend the gala. And I'm like, no, y'all gonna have to pick and choose who you want there. But anyway, he was like, no, we should be fine. Sometimes it's just not possible, and I know that especially when people are cool with a couple that break up, they just kind of feel like they should have some allegiance to both of them. But honestly, you do at some point have to pick um aside when they're like this. Like some people can break up and it's very amicable and they can still coexist in the same spaces because they have the same friends and all this. They're not, this isn't it. Maybe when them kids get grown, maybe. And I doubt it then, but it's not gonna happen no time soon. So over at the Airbnb, I think that's what it is. Tisha and Marsau talk about the project he may be working on with Kimmy and Marsau. She says she doesn't want to go back down the road where they weren't on good terms because of past situations. But you know what? The common denominator is, Tisha, go look in the mirror. Go look in the mirror. She wants Kimmy to be loyal, but don't want to have her back when her mama used to attack Kimmy. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Like she wants everyone to have her back, but she is quick to not have your back, especially when it comes to um, stuff that her family members do to other people. Anyway, so they talked about, the business expo and how they reached out to Mel, but of course, unfortunately, she wasn't able to attend that weekend. They're like, do you think it had anything to do with the statement? Well, no, I just think she was just busy. Um, Tisha lets Mel know. Tisha says to Marsau, Mel would like to have a conversation about the comment he made. And she says she wondered why they are always blamed. I hate them using the word blame because that just takes you back to victim mode. I think a lot of times you can just say, I wonder why we always involved, but not necessarily blame. I don't think anybody's blaming y'all for what's going on. I do think that people have a problem with when you speak out about certain things that you could just easily not speak out about. I don't know. He says that the thing about them, he and Tisha, this is funny. He and Tisha's, they say anytime people speak against them, something bad happens to them. Look at Mel and Martell and Tiffany and Lewis and Kiki. And Tisha says, add Stormi because she said she had liquid courage. But you did. You did, though. Because anyway, girl, hush. Marsau says um, to her, but getting down in the gutter, makes you as low as there. I like how he all of a sudden they want to go talk trash until like she starts talking about stuff and then he's like, oh, but let me reel you back in. I think that's a really anyway. He says we need to work on accountability. And she says, I don't want to talk about that right now. Because one thing about it is y'all can talk about this till you blue in the face. Tisha's not gonna take accountability for what she says and does. That's number one. Number two, you're not going to take Marsau is not going to take accountability for what he says and does. And number three, ooh, They as a couple are not going to take accountability for what they say and do. Even if, you know, all they need to just do is say, yeah, we said that and it was because of this. I think a lot of folks would be a lot better off. But anyway, she's always venting to him and seeking guidance and stuff. And I think if she had closer friends that she could vent with, then she can have venting sessions and feel validated. But whenever she go to him, she already know he gonna try to make it a teachable moment for her. And now she all mad and on the defensive. And now he like, oh, you don't want me to say that? Okay. Y'all gonna have these conversations every time, and you're still not gonna get to the bottom of it. So in the next scene, we got Stormy having a sit down dinner, brunch, lunch, whatever, with Mel. And the reason for this meeting is a temperature check before the gala to make sure that everything is cool with them. Not just cool with them, but just also just kind of overall just meet up and kind of rehash what happened in the past couple of events, I guess. So they talk about the live podcast and they talk about Nell's birthday party. So she and Mel discuss the surprise that Carlos brought out, which was Sonny and Moses. Stormy says, well, Mel asked Stormy what she thought about that. And both of them were just kind of like, it was kind of weird how she came out. It was a little odd because, the energy felt like, Sonny felt like she won, basically. And she feels like you shouldn't be that abrasive towards someone that you cared about, even if you fall in love with somebody, but that just the way that they're handling everything could be more loving. And the conversation turns to the weirdness between Stormy and Latricia. And Stormy like, I ain't got no weirdness. I already said what I needed to say. I did what I needed to do. And Mel was like, I thought you guys were good. But, she does seem a bit hyper. And both of them were just talking about, Tisha had a lot to drink. I wonder if she had a headache the next morning because that was a lot. She was knocking them back. Um, they both was wondering about the exchange between Tisha and Nell because it was just kind of weird, like it came out of nowhere. So it was a lot happening. It was just too much, especially for a birthday party. Like I just wish people would stick to what the event is, but they ain't gonna do that. I guess it wouldn't be reality TV if something didn't pop off. Anyway, so they talk a little bit about the gala, and um, Melody wants to know, is it formal? And Stormy's like, well, I want it to be uh, formal, but I feel like people are gonna be like cocktail, but I'm gonna be formal. Um, and she then goes into saying, well, I noticed that Martell wasn't at Nell's party, and I'm not sure where you all are, but I did ask him to be a model. And Melody was like, oh, okay, so you invited him. She's like, yeah. And she was like, okay, that's cool. I just won't come, move how you need to move. Um, yeah, I just won't be. If he's gonna be there, I'm not gonna be there. I thought that was a diplomatic response. Like again, I don't really know where their friendship is right now. I know that the purpose of it was so that Melody wouldn't be blindsided with Martell being there and giving her an opportunity to kind of just walk away if she needed to. So I don't know how she's going to view their friendship, because if you think about the other episodes, she was saying that she needs her married friends to choose a side. And while I get it, I think it's just a little harder, a little tougher for people because they like Martell. They just think he's a likable person. And I think those are dangerous grounds. I'm going all off script, but I think those are dangerous grounds because a lot of times people wait until it's often too late before they can see how dangerous a person is. And every season, I just get an uneasy feeling. I don't know these people for real, but I can tell by some of the conversation that's being had that they could do better. They could do better with the support. Let me just say it that way. So, next scene, Martell and Latricia work out. I mean, if I was Latricia, I just wouldn't have. The energy still seems a little weird. And while they're working out, he wants to know how she knows Marcel. She said, well, he used to work with her ex and her sister back in the day. So it's a lot of years ago because I looked up the place that they were talking about, and it's a movie theater. So Martell is like, well, Marceau used to have all the parties up there, and did you go sit in the party? She was like, no, I don't know nothing about the parties. Well, if you had gone to the party, he would have got you too. She was like, no, I don't think so. And like I said, Martell, the kind of friend you really have to watch because he'll start stuff and then he'll just kind of sprinkle a little information. It's not necessarily true. He's just trying to make stuff more exciting. And a lot of times he drags people into his drama. And I'm just saying this is the type of personality that I see. I don't know these people for real, so don't blame me for it. But I'm just telling you what I see. He seems like the kind that will use any secrets you may have or any insecurities you may have and use that against you when you're not on his side. And you just have to be careful with people like that. Anyway, they talk about getting ready for the gala and how and he said, well, are you ready for somebody to be rubbing on you? And she's like, hell no, they may end up with a black eye. And he's like, oh, it's like that. And she tries not to be that way, and she kind of talk about having the new guy or whatever. And again, this is a really weird, corny scene because everything seems so just odd. Of course, he was like, oh, yeah, I was like that with my friend Chris the other day. You know, Chris Fletcher? And she was like, yeah, he and my mom are cousins. So there he go laughing. He starts making these little weird um laugh, just ovations saying, oh yeah, you must have been the one he was trying to introduce me to. And a lot of stuff you got to stop entertaining it when it comes to that. Like, I'm really bothered. Really, I'm bothered by this type of behavior because it's petty. It just it's unhinged. There's a lot of things that are just not good about the types of conversation he tends to have, especially with women. Is that first of all, his conversations with women are disrespectful. And then there's always him trying to like sprinkle other things in. And at the end of the day, he gonna bring it right back to he and Melody and their issues. And here's the thing. So when she asked him about not going to Nell's party, he said he wasn't invited. So she was asking, hey, you and Mel, y'all could be in the same room, right? And he's like, yeah, we had before. And it's like, people are asking you this because they want to make sure that there's no restraining order against y'all, like either way. Anyway, she said, and then Tisha, and I mean Trisha, I'm wondering about her. She like Melody was grilling me, and I'm like, I don't know if we saw less conversation between her and Melody, or was she really asking her a bunch of questions? But she's too busy trying to explain her relationship. And of course, as soon as she said she's not divorced and she got this dude here, there was just some fuel from Martell to hop on in and be like, "Oh, you got a side dude." I had that situation before. And Melody, she had a side dude too. And I'm like, anytime y'all talk to him, he gonna bring that conversation back to Melody cheated on me. And I'm like, you the only one that got proof of that. You got a whole fifth child. Some things I wonder when it's going to stop. Anyway, I can't do this conversation about him much longer. Next scene, Melanie and Marsau meet up to clarify some things that have been put out in the media. Now, out of all the people on the show, I think what's funny is they have the best chemistry. They have like this sibling rivalry relationship. They remind me of two siblings that live with different parents. Like they can get along, but most of the time they not. But they can both dish it out to each other and take it. And I think that's what I like, the exchange that goes back and forth between them. It's pretty interesting. Um, so he's she she asked him about the Black Expo. Now, this is what I found funny. She made sure she said Expo. Yeah, she was being petty because we all know that that's not how Tisha pronounces it. Marcel said it went well. They got the sponsorship. They got their 3 keynote speakers. And she said, that's great that you guys were successful this time. Then she transitions to the conversation, to the statement that Marsau made to media because she feels like he didn't even need to make a statement. He said when Martell got arrested and the word was circulating, they thought that, in fact, he was the one that got arrested. And then so he let them know that it was not him. He wasn't sure what was going on, but he was praying for all the parties involved. Then he explained that it was a personal friend who reached out to him for that statement. And she says, whenever other people reach out to me, and that's including personal friends, I don't ever make a statement. I don't know nothing going on. And she just wants the same courtesy. And so he was going back and forth with her, and he's like, look, I can show you what I said. And she's like, oh, okay. But this is what happens. I guess he forgot that this part was said in the conversation where it says, for real though, free Martell. Melody was like, boy, what the F is wrong with you? Since we saying free Martell, then free Tisha. And this is where the episode ends. And of course, it's always to be continued. But child, I guess we're going to see where the rest of the conversation is going next week. Also, we're going to see a little bit of the gala and the tete-a-tete that Destiny and Sonny is going to have. I just hope they don't mess up these people's event. I just know it's coming though. But thank you all for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, share, and also post your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you thought about this episode. And I tell you what, I'll be back next time with another review. So I will see you guys in another and the next video. Thank you so much for watching again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.